Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? We're back again. Back again for a Friday night. It is TGIF. Well, sort of. Sort of. Because as we all know, that medical plane in Philadelphia just fell from the sky. I don't think I've ever seen any footage like that before. That was confronting. At first I was like, oh, it's like some sort of small passenger jet. And then I heard it was a medical flight of a 12-year-old girl heading to Tijuana. Ah, man, like, it's really hard. Like, you think about it, that girl came probably to the US to have some sort of life-changing, like, medical surgery or consultation, who knows, to be flown around in an airplane, you gotta be pretty sick, and to come from, like, across the border, and to have to have that just fall out of the sky like that. I mean, oh man, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It's really horrific. Although I've seen plane crashes before, but that one where that guy's driving and you see it in the dash cam, and you see the plane and it just nosedives, and you got to wonder, at what stage of the flight were they in? Were they trying to climb to altitude and something put too much pressure on the jets and they just conked out? It's hard to know because some of these, I know some of the bigger jets can actually fly for a decent amount of time with no engines. So there was a flight from the UK, I think it was from the UK, like 50 years ago, that flew through Indonesia, and it had like dust particles from a volcano that went into its engines, conked up all the engines because it couldn't get oxygen to keep the engines going. And they were like doing calculations to figure out, okay, where can we, because they're over like the Indian Ocean. They're like, well, how far can we get if we have to sort of glide the airplane? And they're like, oh, I think we could get to like Northern Territory or something if they had to glide it and then try to do a crash landing. This particular one, just maybe they didn't have enough altitude. I don't know, but it's just literally like dropped like a stone out of the air. I mean, it's just bonkers. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if maybe it was in a climbing route. So when you first take off, they try to climb and they do the staircase. So if you've ever seen a pilot or you've ever been on a plane, they start to do like the staircase where they go up, turn, go up again, and they keep getting altitude till they get above, I don't know, whatever height the tower wants them to get above. And then they go, up into the jet stream. But I don't know too much more. Rachel said, yeah, it was a Learjet 55. Yep, that is what I've heard too. Um, Only 30 seconds after takeoff, they wouldn't have had no height, like 1,000 feet, like nothing. It's not very very far. It's not a lot of height for them to do anything with. It tells me that maybe something happened. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen any reports yet, but it could be various things. Could be something happened. They hit something. A motor conked out. It could be they hit bird strike at night. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. I want to say hello to everyone. How are you all? Penguin, good to see you. Marlon Clausen, April B, Lynn D, Nana Lana's here. Rachel made it. Nick is here. Hey, Nick, thank you very much for your membership. I appreciate that. I saw that come in the other day. Tharvi's here. Moonlight View. Hey, sweetheart, how are you? Is Mrs. Ping home? She is. Hold on. Hold on one sec. All right, all right. She's a little bit closer now.
Okay.
They want to know. They want to know. Are you feeling better?
I'm feeling better, yes.
Is that like on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I wouldn't say like what 10 being the best or 1 being the worst. No, I'm not 100%, but I'm better than I was. And
Better than no sodium.
yeah,
Better than like no. What was the other one? Sodium and
potassium.
Potassium. Low.
Very low.
Yeah, they said that if she'd waited any longer to go into hospital that there was a real risk of either heart attack, seizure, or death.
Yeah, I know.
They said if it dropped, she was at 120. If it had dropped to 19, 18, or 17, that apparently she would have just literally blacked out and never woken up
Yeah,
again.
no, it was pretty bad.
Pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
So
But
pretty
I'm
bad.
better now, so that's the main thing.
Glad to be home.
I'm very happy to be home. Hospital's not the best place.
Happy to be with the cats again.
Yeah, I miss the cats. I missed you, of course.
That was a very forced miss you.
No, I did. I missed being at home.
Yeah, I visited you though.
You did.
Brought you lots of stuff and
You did.
brought you food and stuff because they wouldn't
Yeah.
feed you for like 2
Well,
days.
The kitchen didn't have food for me, really, which is odd being a hospital, but no, it didn't. It wasn't able to feed me very well. But it was my mum and you that kept me alive, which was nice. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to talk about true crime or do you want to go?
Oh, I'm going to go now.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
That's it. That's all you get. She's going to go up and watch her TV shows. That's it. All right. Yeah. Yeah, she's feeling a lot better. They have some sort of plan of action. It's not a great plan of action, but we'll see. What causes that? It's she doesn't want me to explain, but I will say overhydration can cause it. So like drinking more water than your body needs can flush out the salt. So that's as much as she's going to let me. I'm getting a look where it says don't explain anymore. So yeah. Yeah, she just like there's causes of it. Her one was like multifaceted, where it was like she was drinking too much water. It was a couple of other issues. They combined where it just meant she wasn't retaining any salt. So, and she didn't realize how bad it had got. So until she had a blood test, and then they called her. You know when you get that call at like 8 a.m. in the morning, like 1 past 8 in the morning from the doctor, and you're like, the doctors don't call you at 8 a.m. in the morning for good news. They call you at like 3 o'clock after they've done everything else for the day. And they're like, wait, I didn't call that guy and tell him he doesn't have cancer. Hold on, let me tell him. When you get a call at 8 a.m. in the morning, it's normally bad news. So we knew it was going to be something bad. Hey, Tharvi, how are you? Any luck with your husband? Let me know. Good news. Hubby is laid off now, but will be hired back shortly on a new contract. Hey, just like they said in chat last night, the world would provide, and it did. Lindy says, "Oh my God, Mrs. Ping, so glad you got there in time." It's so random. She went to a specialist on Tuesday, and the specialist wanted her to do a blood test, so she did it straight after the appointment, and we got the phone call the next morning. And yeah, if she had waited 2 more days or whatever, she may not have woken up from her sleep. They're saying that she could have died in her sleep very easily. And I'll tell you a story. A family, or not a family, Jill's brother, right? So yeah, they're family. Jill's, sorry, you don't know who that is. A friend of the family, like a family member, their brother died last year, and he had a heart attack, right? Like he had a heart attack. He had a heart attack, and it was brought on by low potassium. He he didn't know his potassium level, and he died very sadly, very quickly. I think he had the heart attack like on a Thursday, and he was dead, gone the next day. Gone the next day, and they did an autopsy, and they said that it was low potassium that killed him. Literally, had no really other. He had a couple of health issues, but nothing that wasn't super unmanageable. But the low potassium killed him, and yeah, he died. It was like July last year. Yeah, very sad. Thavi says he gets his severance package and goes back to work. Great news! I'm very happy to hear that for you. So there's your like personal updates. Penguin says too much water. Yes, kids have died from chugging water in hazing rituals. Yeah, it wasn't like she was chugging water. It was just there was just too much water in her system and nothing to keep anything like any salt. So it was just like, yeah, it was just, yeah, it was just bad advice. It was bad advice from the doctors. So one doctor was telling her you have to up your water intake, and then another doctor was telling her no, like you don't need that much water. And then another doctor, a dietitian, was saying, "Hey, let me put you on all this liquid." It was just a bit of a mess. So there was just like 3 different doctors not talking to each other. Um, yeah, eat a banana. Eat a banana every day and get your potassium. Eat a banana. They're cheap, you get them everywhere, and it has potassium in it. Or you can take a multivitamin like Ping does. Ping takes a multivitamin because I'm an old man now. Have to take a multivitamin. I feel like my dad. Take your multi every day with your muesli. All right, all right, all right. All right, I think we've done enough like catch up stuff now. All right. All right, let's get to true crime. Yeah, let's check a little bit into this jet thing. I want to do a little tiny bit on it just because it's unbelievable. It really is. I've never heard anything like this before. I mean, Ping's never heard of a plane crashing before. No, I have, but well, we had one in California last year. Do you remember that? There was one around this time last year where a jet taking off from an airport in California or San Diego. Well, it's the same thing. Um, it took off and just crashed into a bunch of houses. So I do remember that one. And then we had the one obviously a couple of days ago. Yeah, here, let's go here. Let's go to this one. I just want to play this footage. I know Trish probably played it like 50 times, but you know, not everyone that watches this channel also goes to her channel. So I sort of have to double up sometimes. Yeah, this footage, it's that. You can see it. It's just coming out of nowhere. It looks like a comet. Just don't. Not that one. There we go. Yeah, and that fireball. Oh my god. And that's probably because it had so much aviation fuel on board. Sometimes when these planes crash, it's near the end of their flight. So they normally calculate how much they need and fill it up, plus whatever the overhead is. I think it's normally like plus 20% to give it like, you know, in case something goes wrong. Um, this flight being that it just took off was probably just full of fuel. That's why you got such a dramatic explosion, that big fireball. Ugh. It just doesn't even seem like America. Like when you watch that, it just you don't expect to be driving down the road. You go, "Oh, that's Russia somewhere," or something like that. You don't go, "Oh, that's you know Philadelphia in America." It's very very odd. Let's see. Yeah, possibly because it's a medical jet. They may have had a lot of combustible, you know, tanks and things. Yeah, just no descent. Sometimes you see them sort of circle and then they kind of crash. This one just straight out of the air. Very, very strange. Nick said, if you're looking for today's swear word, can I be it? You can shout Nick out of a car easy as F. All right, Nick, you can be today's swear word, but one day we're actually going to put it into practice, all right? We're going to drive around and I'm going to scream out my window of my car random chat names and I'm going to see who reacts. So we're going to put on video. Maybe when I go on holiday next time, so it's not in my local area, but we will do it. Let's see. Very sad. April B says the video that shocked me was the couple's Ring doorbell. Oh, yeah, I think it's in the same stupid Daily Mail thing. Yeah, I think it's down here somewhere. Is it that one? Don't know if it's that one. These guys, right? These two here, they're just like, oh my god. They're like, get inside the house. What the hell? Yeah, this one here. It's the next one, I think. It just lit up the entire night sky. I'm gonna turn it down a bit. It's a little loud for the next one. And then you get the one with the doorbell in a sec. No, is it that one? Yeah, you see it in the background. It looks like a bomb went off. It really does. Look at that. That glow. It's that flight path. It just looks so odd. Oh, yeah, I'll mute that so you don't have to hear him. You can see it in this video too. I wish it would stop and show us a still frame, but it kinda drifts. If you watch it very carefully, it comes out of the sky and then it almost kind of veers, almost like maybe like it looped around or something. It's hard to tell when you're looking at different angles because you're not right under it. So when something is above you, the way it falls is sort of different to the way you're looking at it. So it almost looks like it looped or spiraled a little bit at the end, but brutal. April B says they're going out for the evening. Is that what they were doing? I don't know if they continue to go out. I hope not. I hope they decided that maybe staying home was a good idea. Yeah, and they said there was a child on board. So I heard originally that, it was pediatric and there was a 12-year-old girl, right? Am I misremembering this for some reason? Yeah, yeah. They said the representative for the Jet Rescue Air Ambulance disclosed to NBC 10 that the patient was a young girl returning to Tijuana, Mexico after receiving life-saving care in America. They said, all I can say is the patient was sponsored by a third partner charity to undergo life-saving treatment in the US. They say she did, of course, she did her course of care and she was going home. She fought quite a lot to survive, and unfortunately, this tragedy on the way home. Ah, you think of all the things that like children in pediatric care can go through. They could have like leukemia or there's like a billion different childhood illnesses that they have to do, like bone marrow and epidurals and really really painful operations and surgeries and procedures. And the fact that this little girl fought through all of that, somehow came out the other end and was okay and died on her way home to her home country. I don't know if I've heard anything so tragic in all my time doing this show. It just doesn't seem fair, does it? It really doesn't. It seems like just unfair is the word that I would use. It seems like that poor little girl, and I don't know if her mom was on board. I know they said there was 2 pilots and maybe some people who were tending to her. I don't know if a parent figure was on board. I haven't seen anything myself, but yeah, there's that fireball that went up. Looks like avgas to me, but yeah. And these poor people that live next to the mall. So apparently that's a mall there. The people that live here that have their homes on fire, like they're gonna have a disruptive period of time too. Like their houses may be like completely trashed. A lot of people affected. Yeah, I'll play the mayor thing. It only goes for a minute.
I want to go through some basic facts about what we know for certain right now. An aircraft went down in the vicinity of Roosevelt Mall on Cottman Avenue. This occurred shortly after 6 p.m. this evening. As of right now, we have no reports on the number of fatalities. So right now, we're just asking for prayers for any and everyone who may have been affected. We do want to note that several dwellings and vehicles were impacted. So what are we asking you to do for us right now, Philadelphia? We're urging you to please stay away from the scene. If you see debris, call 911. Don't touch anything. This is still an active scene under investigation. To be standing here
So I know someone commented in the chat, Mrs. Ping also just found it, that apparently it was her mum with her on the flight. So not only do you lose the little girl, but the family also lost the mum, and also the specialist paramedics or doctors that are on board to care for her during the flight. And then you got your pilots and people working the airplane. Oh man, it's just 6 on board. So if you have 2 pilots, a child, and her mom, so it must be like 2 paramedics or 2 doctors on board to care for her. So it's a lot of lives impacted by that. It's heartbreaking, it really is. April says, I don't know. That's what it appeared to be. I agree. It's very strange movement of the airplane. Very strange. Yeah. Hopefully we get a flight path eventually. I've seen a couple, but they're only from the air. I want to see the 3D over like the Google Map one where they can show you through the atmosphere. Maybe that'll tell us more to the story if we get that. 2 doctors. 2 doctors? Doctor and a paramedic. Yeah, I figured it would either be paramedics or a doctor, depending on what she needs. I've seen these flights before. So scary. I've been in medical helicopters many times. These are different, right? These are so the medical evac. They're the ones you see flying around at night in America. They're the helicopters that are in like every main city in America. These are different, right? These tend to go further distances. So the helicopters are local. It's more if like someone has a car crash or I don't know, someone's in the wilderness and they fall off a cliff, they tend to bring the helicopter. But these airplanes tend to go if they're going to like Missouri or they're going to I don't know, New York or they're heading to London or things like that, longer places. Let's see. Hey, Sienna, how are you, sweetheart? It's good to see you. Look, that's all I'm going to do on the airplane. I think there's enough people talking about it tonight, really, and I don't think there's a ton of new information. Like, I think we all understand what happens when an airplane falls out of the sky like that. I don't think we need Ping to recount every step of of the falling out of the air. I think we know the basic details right now. We have to wait for the interesting bit will be the NTSB report. If you really want to know what happened here, wait for that. That'll have a lot of the technical details about what happened, and that we will do that when it comes out. Same for the one in DC. The one that happened in DC a couple of nights ago, when the NTSB full report, not preliminary, when the full report comes out, could be 6 to 18 months from now. But when it comes out, I will run you through it. Like we did with the hot air balloon. All right. I want to tell you about this woman. Some people get very creative when they are like trying to hide from the law. But some people try to be creative, but they're also dumb. So this lady has a little bit of both. She also tried to brag to the cops that they couldn't find her after she posted on Facebook saying like, "Hi, I'm right here. I know I have a warrant out for my arrest, but I'm right here. You just got to find me," like a giant hide and seek. So let me grab that story. Give me one sec. All right. So, a lot of people ask me, Ping, why do you use a lot of Daily Mail? And it's not because I want to. I try to use a variety of news sources, often, the Telegraph, the Mail, things like that. Oftentimes, the Daily Mail, I can get access to it without running a VPN. That's why we tend to use it frequently, because a lot of the other ones have to run a VPN to do it. But so here, the hilarious moment: police find female suspect hiding under pile of children's toys after she replied to a Facebook post on an appeal from the police to find her. She was like, "Oh, hi guys, I'm right here." Here you can see she commented under this appeal by authorities to find her, and she said, "Hey guys," like as if I'm right here. Why are you not finding me? And then they eventually broke into this property and they did find her. So let's watch the action body cam. I love body cams. Let's watch them. They're like, she's here, we found her. She hid under this pile of like children's toys, children's clothing, next to what looks like a crib. At least it looks like a baby's crib to me. And she was trying to hide from police officers who wanted to arrest her for failure to appear in court. So here, let's watch this body cam.
She's here. She's here. She's here. Get up now! Get up now! Get up! She's here. She's here. She's here. Get up now!
So in the footage, you can't see her face, but what you can see is she's wearing sort of like leggings or something that are pink in color. They're at the bottom of the screen. So if you can't, I want to mute it because the cop is really annoying. He's like, she's here. She's here. Look, under the toys, she's here. So I want to mute that cop because he's annoying. And I'll play it again. So you can see, yeah, she's wearing like pink pants. Oh, we got kicked out. There we go. Yeah, you can see those pink like sort of leggings or whatever. And she's got her head under this like blue toy. There you go. You sort of get a glimpse of her right at the end there. There she goes. She's hiding her face, like as if the police don't know what she looks like. Bro, I think they do know what you look like. They have your driver's license, you absolute idiot. So, trying to hide under children's toys, not the greatest of achievements, I would say. They say here in body cam footage of the arrest, which occurred Thursday, January 30, so only like a day ago, officers can be seen uncovering the woman who is lying on her back with her arms crossed beneath a pile of toys. Almost like a funeral. The officer is heard communicating with others saying, she's here, as he lifts toys off her body. She is then heard groaning before the officers shout, "Get up now." GMP's Detective Inspector Natalie McDonald said, "We currently have a woman in custody being questioned by detectives thanks to the swift action of our officers." She said, "We want to thank everyone who engaged with our post. It ultimately helped us locate and arrest this woman, and we have dedicated teams of officers across Manchester." Frickin' Manchester, man! Everything exciting in England happens in Manchester. Who are actively seeking and arresting those who are wanted. So basically, they have like a wanted department. Yeah, so this was in Manchester. Manchester. Did they give us a name of the woman? A full name? No. But she's 22 years old. She was arrested on suspicion for failing to appear at court for 3 counts of assault of an emergency worker, drug offenses, and theft. So, like an all-round, very, community-minded person who's very much giving back to her local community. Like, I don't know why they arrested her. Like, that seems like a weird thing to do. She seems like she's, helping out. She obviously goes to charity drives. She punches paramedics. Like, seems like a great woman. So some people just aren't very smart. That's right. It's like those people that hide in cupboards. It's like, what do you think? That the cops are not going to check cupboards? They're going to be like, well, doesn't say in our search warrant, doesn't say that we can open any internal doors. So, we better just leave them here. like the world's greatest game of hide and seek. I don't. She will do well in jail. Well, if she could hide, yeah, maybe. Like in E.T. A little bit. Maybe that's where she got the idea. April B says, why don't people just go to their court dates? They're just making it worse for themselves. Actually, one of the best ways through the justice system is to go to your court dates, because not only can you be given options that you may not know about, your legal representatives can fight on your behalf and show that you're a responsible person. You turn up to court. The more you turn up to court, the more leeway you'll be given by the judge. So if you actually show up, say you want more like a continuation of bail, they're more likely to give it to you if you come to all your meetings, if you show you actually take it seriously. They will give you, more privileges. Do this type of thing, and they have to drag your ass in from your home after you hid under a bunch of toys. They're more likely to remand you in custody until your next hearing, because they don't want to take the risk that they have to go back out and find you. So, yeah, that's right. She ain't a wife material. Marlene says, I want to see her glowing fingers. Why? What kind of fetish do you have? That's a weird type of, like, we're not yucking anyone's yum here, but, I mean, whatever gets you going, Marlene Clausen. Shad, hey, good to see you. Marlene says, it's one of those things in life, just follow the rules and life will be easier. Yeah, be a sheep. Follow the rules, all right? You have to follow all the... No. Just be sensible about this, the decisions that you make in life. And know when you should keep to the rules and do the right thing, and know where there's a little bit of leeway. Hiding from cops after you failed to appear 3 times on punching a paramedic, probably not the right idea. Probably not one you can just go, oh, I'll do that next week. I don't think so. Let me show you this. I want to see if we can find the full tape of that search. Hold on a second. Yeah, she taunted officers by commenting on her own post, saying there was a few people that have done that before. Let's see, Greater Manchester. Yeah, let's go to the GMP if it'll let me in. All right, I am human. Come on. Yeah, let's go here. Okay, according to the GMP police, which is the Greater Manchester PD, a woman who taunted police by commenting "Here guys" on her own wanted appeal posted a GMP social media... What? She commented on a post that they were basically saying, do you know this woman? Have you seen her? And she commented on it, basically saying, hi. The 22-year-old woman was arrested. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, there's that post. Why won't they give her a name? They say Detective Inspector Natalie McDonald from GMP's Manchester Central Neighbourhood Crime Team said, we currently have a woman in custody being questioned by detectives thanks to the swift action of our officers. They said, we want to thank everyone who engaged with the post. So not too much more is known about Miss hiding under the children's toys. Here's a photo of her right here. I think that's a great look, right? Wait, it almost makes it look like she doesn't have pants on and she has some sort of clothing covering her nether regions, right? You can see like her stomach here, and then it looks like a leg. Maybe she is naked. How weird. What kind of fetish does she have? Some sort of like hiding under toys fetish. I think it's just skin colored something, I hope anyway. Seems like a weird thing to do. And then she's like, if I cover my face, I'm actually invisible. You know, they can't see me. As long as I cover my face, they won't be able to find me. Yeah. And why is her children's room like my house is like a bomb gone off with the cats here? I'm not judging anyone, but is there a child that lives in this room? Because if there is, where do they live? Because the crib here that's next to her is filled with wrapping paper, children's stuff, onesies, a nappy, other children's toys. Like, I don't think a child lives in that thing. Maybe the child is older now. But yeah, it definitely gives a weird visual there. Don't insult Sean. He is a sheep, but a different type of sheep. It is pretty hilarious. Hey, Moonlight. All right, head off, my friend. Shad said, "Well, hello to everyone. It's good to see you." Like an ostrich that puts their head in the sand? Maybe. It looks like a hoarder's house. Yeah, a little bit. April B said, "That's how little kids think. If you can't see their face, that you can't find them." Maybe she's been hanging around little kids for too long. Wendy asks, "You'd lose the baby in the pile of clothes. You'd never find it again. It'd be like train spotting. You'd come back to a dead child." Sean says she might be a furry. She might be furry somewhere, but we don't see it on this particular photo. I'm not questioning her on that, but I don't know if she is a furry that dresses like the animals or whatever. They dress in like plush animal like outfits or whatever, and then I don't know what they do. Play video games and hump each other. I don't know, something like that. Or they just hang out and look cool in their dog costume. All right, so that's that one. She's a strange lady. Hopefully, she'll learn not to punch paramedics. Don't hit paramedics. They're good people. Be nice to people who work in EMS. They are hardworking people. They don't get paid enough, and they have to put up with dumbasses like this who are violent against them. So let's hope she learns her lesson by being splashed all over YouTube and the world. That if you are a scumbag, we'll talk about you all over the internet. So let's see what happens with that. That's her room. Maybe she has one of those like fantasies of being a small child again. I think it's probably her child's room. Wendy asks if you'd lose a baby. Yeah, I agree. All right. I know more about this. Some people contacted me asking me if I had any updates on the caravan investigation. I don't. It's been extremely quiet since the news broke on like Wednesday evening. There's a little bit of come out about the background of the people that are involved, but about the big fish that might be running the whole operation, nothing. It's been very quiet. So they must be investigating in the background. I don't know any new information about it apparently. So we'll see. They'll tell us when they want us to know. Rachel said, "So true. EMS has been busy here today." I can tell you, I just went through emergency with this thing over here that apparently could have died a few days ago. She was in emergency in like a little cubicle for 24 hours in emergency, not in a hospital. She was in the emergency part for over 24 hours. They finally got her a bed upstairs, and by the time she was about to be discharged, her dietitian had only just visited, and they're like, "Oh, we can send you food now." She got discharged 2 hours later. So she never got like any food while she's in hospital. So the funding for hospitals, EMS, emergency, they're all just absolutely tapped out. It is tapped out. There is just like, it's ridiculous. The fact that a dietitian can't come and see you so you can get food in like 3 days in hospital is a joke. They basically just sat her there for 3 days and gave her nothing. Like, she had a few drinks and things like that, but actual solid food? No. Nothing. Wait, what did you have in hospital?
Like tea, coffee, juice, all the liquidy stuff.
But like no solid food except for they tried to give you like some roast pork, right?
They gave me a meal and I couldn't eat. I could eat the meat, which I did, rest of it,
There's a good joke there, but I'm not going to make it.
And then they didn't have anything. Oh, and that was it, really.
Yeah.
The rest of
So
it was-
they gave her one tray of food that had like roast pork and roast vegetables, but she can't eat the vegetables. And you could eat the pork, but
I could eat the meat, but and then because of my other issues with fructose, gluten, and all that, they couldn't get me a meal that had none of all that.
yeah. So on her file, it says that she is FODMAP, and it says she's gluten free. But in the hospital ordering system for food, there is FODMAP and there is gluten free, but there's no FODMAP gluten free. But they can't combine it because when you get put on the gluten free, they won't give you anything, not even a speck of anything that has gluten or whatever in it. So they were just like, our hands are tied. The system is broken. We can't give you anything because we can't order anything through the system. And by the time the dietitian came around and overruled, like they had a good conversation with her, like, what can you eat? What can we work with you? But it was like 3 days later and she was going to get discharged like in a couple of hours. So she never got any food. That you never end up getting any food, did you?
That's how I ate.
Yeah, we brought supplies to her. Yeah.
It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. Well, she can't have the porridge because she's gluten free. The soup maybe, but they didn't even offer you soup, did they?
Well, they said the soup's got onion and garlic and stuff in it.
Yeah, so it's not FODMAP. It's not FODMAP. Yeah. She's a basket case. She really is. Like she can't eat nothing. She's allergic to half the world, and I don't know how we keep her alive day to day. Rachel said, "Yeah." Lindy said, "I just spent 2 days in hospital waiting to be transferred. No treatment during that time. For blood clots in both lungs. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. Have to wait to get one that could actually treat me. Oh, sweetheart, I am so sorry that you're suffering through that." Lindy says both our countries seem to be lacking in healthcare department. That is true. It's to the point. Australia has turned very much into America. Like we do have a public system here, but it's so bogged down that unless you pay for things out of pocket, you just never get anything done. Like she had an MRI booked, and they're like, "Oh, we got your MRI booked." They're like, "We'll see you in July." July for someone who needs surgery. They're like, "We'll see you in 6 months' time after you drop 20 kilos of weight." I don't even know she'd be alive in July. So we have to pay out of pocket for it. It's going to be like $600. $600 to get an MRI next week. So, and you don't get anything back on this one. So sometimes it's sort of like copay where you get something back in America or the government pays part of it or whatever. This one is completely out of pocket, 100%. We have to pay every dollar. But if we pay the 600, we can cut out 6 months. We can cut out 6 months of waiting. There's no other way to do it. Like we asked the doctors, we asked the IBD clinic, we asked everyone, can you speed it up because she's sick? And they're like, "Oh, we'll do our best." And they haven't got back to us. So yeah, I agree with you that the health systems have just been given since COVID, no funding, no extra money, nothing. Deborah says, here in Canada, even during COVID, I never had to wait for cancer treatment and surgery. See, we let Canada take over the world. What are we doing? Why do we ever let Canada do it? That is really good. Thavi says, "Ping, that sounds like Canada." It is starting to. They want it to be like that. We have a thing here like Medicare and bulk billing, but they're starting to all go away. Like a lot of doctors won't bulk bill anymore, and a lot of the doctors won't even take Medicare anymore. So when you go see a GP here, it costs like $80. Like you have to pay up front, and then you get like $30 back, and then $50 goes to provider or whatever. It's turning very much into America. So if you hear people say how good Australians' healthcare is, maybe in some states of Australia it is, but in Melbourne, it's fucking shit right now. It's terrible. Sorry about the language. Sorry, I got mad. Deborah said, we know how to run healthcare. That's right. Go Canada. Sean says, overpopulation puts strain on our system. And they want to bring in another 2 million migrants to Australia that has a 31 point whatever million population. They want to bring in 2 million people over 2 years. Out of their minds. Sean says, I complained and they waived it. You haven't met her mum. Her mum complains about everything. Tharvey says, my parents could not get timely care. Both died because of it. I'm sorry, but I get it. It's crap. Lindy says, 50-minute appointment, no time to really talk to the doctor. Yep, they do that here now, although it's not 15. They book it for 30. And a standard consultation is 30 minutes. You can book a double, but it costs you double as much. So if you want a double appointment, it costs you $160. So it's crazy down here. Hey, Dr. Michelle. Hey, we just spent the last 20 minutes trashing all the doctors. No, it's not the doctor's fault. It's just the system. Nikki says, having no housing for people either. Housing down here is bonkers. Same in America, same in the UK. So, all right, let's go back to true crime. How do we keep getting off topic? I blame you guys. You guys got to stop sliding me off topic all the time. I blame all the people in the chat. I blame her. Yeah, I blame you. Sure, why not? Hey, you're back home now. Now I can blame you for stuff again. No, I'm glad she's feeling better. That was a stressful 3 days. Hey, I want to talk about this. Hold on, give me a second. Let's go to Michigan. So apparently a guy who beheaded a teenager in 1996 has been granted parole out of Michigan. I want to talk to you about this because this is bonkers. They say a man who murdered and decapitated a fellow teen. So he was a teenager at the time. Oh my God. Who does that? A man who, murdered and decapitated a fellow teen in 1996 has been granted parole. The Michigan Department of Corrections said the projection parole date for Frederico Kiko Cruz is March 25th, 2025. Cruz was 16 in April 1996 when he murdered 17-year-old David Crawford near Sparta, cut off the victim's head, and recorded himself talking to and mutilating it. The video was so disturbing it wasn't shown to the jury that convicted him. Jason Sargraves, who lived nearby at the time of the crime, was only 12 when it happened, told News 8 on Friday that he vividly remembers the video. He says it's something he'll never forget. He said, I saw some stuff in that situation that will stick with me. You can't mentally heal from that. Cruz was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, but a 2016 U.S. Supreme Court ruling meant he was entitled to resentencing because he was a minor when the crime was committed. He was initially resentenced to life in 2018, but was then granted another resentencing because an appeals court found his rights were being violated. In August 2023, Cruz was resentenced to between 35 and 60 years in prison. He has already been behind bars for 27. When news came out that Cruz had been granted parole, Sargraves said he thought he was having a mental breakdown, not believing that it was true. He said, it's a kick to the gut when somebody can do something like that. David doesn't get a second chance, but Kiko does. How is that? I never thought in a million years he would get out after what he did. It's his fault. He doesn't need to be out. He doesn't need to be out. There is no good that can come from it. That sentiment was not shared by all neighbors who lived through the crime. A man named Todd, who was about 30 at the time, described that day as a movie. Todd told News 8 on Friday that he did not have a problem with Cruz being granted parole. He says, I hope the best for the guy. He was young. We all make stupid mistakes when we are children. This is a hard one to take, but he, definitely can be forgiven, I believe. I think we need to arrest you, Mr. Todd. I think we need to arrest you. We'll cut off your head, and then we'll see what your family has to say about whether, whoever does it should be granted parole when they didn't serve the sentence they were originally given. Let's see what happens if we do that, because I'm guessing your family would hate it. They're saying, as Sargrave waits for the next few months before Cruz returns to society, that's the other guy, that guy who doesn't want him out. He said he still cannot grapple with the fact that it's happening to begin with. He says, I did not think that our system would fail us to that extent. When he had his life sentence reduced, that alone shocked me. But what he did and how he did it, I don't know how anybody in the justice system can look at that and say, he is redeemed, he's good to go back into the public. It's not logical to me. I 100% agree. How is that any type of logic? Now, these days, when a child commits a crime like this, either one of two things happens. They get tried as an adult, and they get sentenced accordingly. The other thing that happens is they get charged for their age, and they go through the juvenile system, and most of the time they're out before they're 25. So I understand where the judges came from in their resentencing, that if they applied today's court logic to his case from the 90s, they're giving him the opportunity that they would give a person of that age today, as long as they're not, tried as an adult. But it's pretty prolific prolific? No, it's not the right word, Ping. It's pretty graphic to cut off someone's head, start recording it with a video camera, talk to the head, and then mutilate it. That is not that's not okay. And you're going to release this person back into society in about a month and a half. For someone that's been in jail for that long through their formative years, you have to ask, what problems may they have coming back into society when 27 years in jail is all they've ever known? Not saying they shouldn't have a chance at it, but it does present what kind of care plan will be in place, or the day they release him, are they literally just going to open the door and kick his ass out? It's concerning. Moonlight View said, it's gone down the tube. Reform for medical education and stringent oversight, all of the professionals. I agree. Glitter said, that's crazy. Yep. How do people get this sick and then get parole? I don't know. I'm not a judge. I'm not sure. Rachel said, so they're saying he's rehabilitated and okay to be in society. Apparently. I don't know. They're saying apparently this is true. Let me see if I can find an old news article from when it happened, back in the 90s. Yeah, let's go to this one here.
A West Michigan man convicted in a 1996 murder of a teenager will soon get out of prison.
Federico Cruz was 16 years old when he beheaded and mutilated the body of 17-year-old David Crawford. Now, the picture on the left is Cruz from 1996, and the one on the right is what he looks like today.
Cruz's parole comes after a 2012 Supreme Court decision resulted in a reduction of his life sentence.
13 Your Side's Micah Cho spoke with the Kent County prosecutor about the parole board's decision. Joins us now. Hi, Micah.
Well, Julia and Elena, Chris Becker wasn't the prosecutor in 1996, but did handle Federico Cruz's two resentencing hearings in 2018 and 2023. He told me the parole decision does a disservice to the victim's family.
I just remember my mom sitting there with her son's photograph in the front row during the resentencing.
Kent County prosecutor Chris Becker thinks Federico Cruz should spend the rest of his life in prison.
There's a punishment. They took a life. They took a life in a horrific, one of the most horrific things you can do, cutting off the head and then videotaping, dancing with it. It's not just about rehabilitation.
As a 16-year-old, Cruz killed 17-year-old David Crawford near Sparta, severing his head and making a videotape of him talking to it. Cruz was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. However, in 2012, the United States Supreme Court struck down mandatory life sentences for juveniles. In 2018, Cruz went in front of a judge for resentencing, but was denied parole. Here's what he had to say during that hearing.
It's the worst feeling in the whole world, knowing that I did that.
Then, in 2023, Cruz was given a shorter sentence and would be eligible for parole after serving 35 years in prison. At the time, he has already served 27 years. While Becker disagreed with the decision, he says the idea that Cruz could be out by March is disheartening for the family of David Crawford.
No, they don't have a whole lot of faith in the system and what happened here. We hear this very often from victims. Everything favors the defendant. It's all about the defendants.
When you see him in court in the 90s here, let me go back if I can find it. This is him in 1996, I'm guessing in trial or when he was arrested. He still has the same look in his eyes. When you go to him here, if we can get a good shot of him, let me see. He still has that very vacant here. He still has that same look in his eyes that he did back in 1996. I'm not saying he's dangerous now. He may be, he may not be. I haven't read his report. But to me, he just doesn't seem apologetic, upset, give a crap about the guy he killed. It just seems like he just wants to get out. That's it. He just wants his chance to get into the society again. April B said, I would feel like the family isn't getting justice. They were sitting in the front row, like you heard, with a photo of that kid that was murdered in a brutal and heinous way. And they still resentenced him to basically getting parole. It just tells me that sometimes these courts now are far too leaning towards the defendant and not the other way towards the victim, towards the victim's family. It's giving maybe sometimes too many rights to these people who have been convicted of these crimes. It's not like this is something that, what's that stupid Australian case whatever podcast. They're going to be like, we have a case here tonight. We're going to tell you about a guy who was wrongly convicted. No, this one is cut and dry. It's not even like a question of if he did it or if he didn't. He did it. There is no gray area here. And you're okay with releasing him back into general society to a world that he doesn't understand as well. I'm not saying that that's a reason to keep someone behind bars. Just saying, like, it is a challenge for him. The world has changed in 30 years. The way that everything works is very different. Wendy R says, Betty's more dangerous now than he was back then. Considering he's a grown man, his muscle mass would be so much increased since he was a teenager. He may actually have some issues with that. Sean said, should be made to live on a site in the desert instead of joining any community. I liked the life in jail sentence. I think it was the appropriate one. I believe it was if he had to be resentenced due to the Supreme Court, we have to respect the Supreme Court. If that is what had to happen, then commuting it to a life sentence, no parole, I think would have been fine. Deborah says, an article online says he also tried to rip out the victim's heart for Satan. He's definitely someone you want working at the local big box store. He'll do a lot of good there. Wendy R says parole board should have moved him in with their families just to be sure he's good to be out amongst us all. It's very strange. They make these decisions that seem to impact the wider community, but they are not the ones who are going to have to deal with it because they all live in their gated communities with their security and the police on their payroll. Like, they don't live, a lot of these judges and people who work in the court, they don't live in our suburbs. They don't live where we live. They live out, $1.2 million houses, and, you need a key code to get in, and they got the security and blah, blah, blah. Like, they sleep well at night. Did he know the victim? I'm not sure. I picked up this case only recently. Let me see if I can find anything. I mean, I don't know where he would have found him otherwise. Give me a second. No, that's not it. Hold on, guys. Frederico Cruz. Let's go to M Live, because they normally have a good one on it. They say a man convicted in 1997 for killing and beheading a teen in Kent County has been granted parole. Let's see if it has anything else interesting. Yeah. They say when he killed 17-year-old David Crawford, Cruz was 16 in 1996, later cutting off his victim's head and trying to rip out the teen's heart as a sacrifice to Satan. Cruz videotaped himself mutilating the victim's head in his bedroom and then showed the body part to friends. The hell? They say a Kent County judge in November 2018 resentenced him, but kept the life sentence. He justified his ruling based on the brutality of the crime. But the Michigan Supreme Court later set the bar higher, making it even tougher for a judge to justify a life sentence. I just want to see if they have anything here. They say Kent County prosecutor Chris Becker said Cruz was able to be paroled prior to serving 35 years because of good time credit. Cruz was sentenced in 1996 before the state's Truth in Sentencing Act passed, so he was still qualified for a good time credit. It sounds like something you get when you go to a brothel. You're like, oh, I didn't have a good time last time, and they're like, well, we got you. Next time you come here, you get a good time credit. That sounds like it's a weird name for it. They say the whole resentencing procedure has been an ordeal for the family of David Crawford. I feel for them and all other families of the victims who had to undergo this resentencing process. Damn right. Let me see. What's his name? Frederico Lewis Cruz. Let me see if he knew Crawford. It doesn't say like they were friends or anything. Like, I haven't seen anything described like that. Let me type in this, see if I can pick it up. Just says it was a fellow teen, but I don't get any context of... Might have to find like the original charging documents or like trial transcript. I don't see anything. Like, I tried the tag friend, I tried the tag knew, like as in he knew him. But I don't know. Interesting. I would have thought maybe we... Yeah. Man 39 who killed a teenager and then cut off his head called it Eddie. He called the head Eddie. And then mutilated on a home video when he was just 16. How did he know David Crawford, though? There's a photo of him, by the way, in court. To me, he still has the crazy eyes. He still has them. At least that's what I say. There he is back in the day. That's his original court. That looks like a videotape from back in 1996. Encountered Crawford. Here. Cruz, now 39, encountered Crawford on April 29th, 1996, when the latter was walking along railroad tracks near the Sparta airport. He offered to show the teen some marijuana plants that he said were growing in the woods, but when Crawford stepped onto one of the plants, Cruz began beating him. Cruz repeatedly kicked Crawford in the head and then stepped on his throat, suffocating him, according to WZZM. He returned to the scene 10 hours later and cut off Crawford's head, propping his decapitated body up against a tree. Cruz took the head home with him and videotaped himself mutilating it for a video he called The Murder Show. I don't want to watch that show. The teen also filmed himself talking to the severed head, which he named Eddie, and showed it off to a group of friends. At the time of the horrific murder, Cruz said he had no remorse, but now 22 years later, the convicted killer says, "It's the worst feeling in the world. I took something from them I can never give back. Memories, I stole them from them. They didn't deserve it, but I was a coward when I was a kid. It's horrible. It's the worst feeling in the whole world knowing I did it, knowing I took so much from that family, so much from a mother." Cruz said he went down a bad path in life after he was molested by a cousin when he was 10 years old. "I just remember feeling disgusted with myself a lot. I felt dirty. I thought by being more violent and doing crazy stuff, I'd be more of a man." Cruz said he was too scared to tell his parents what happened because he did not want to be considered a sissy. He said he got caught up in a bad crowd during his teens, experimenting with drugs and eventually becoming a follower of Satan. I hear a lot of excuses and not a lot of acceptance. Even believing he could communicate with demons. I don't know about that. Cruz said on Monday that he is a different man, one who has found God. How is it that all these people find God? What? Does God just hang around in the jails? Like, how are you finding him? And when we walk around in, with freedom and he never comes visits us, I never walk down the street and God's like, hey, Ping, what's up? High five. And I'm like, hey, I found you again. No, that doesn't happen. But people in jail always seem to find him. They say Andrew Rodenhouse, Cruz's attorney, is now asking that he get a reduced sentence with a specific term of years. Yeah, good. 190 years. That'll do. What Mr. Cruz did was inexcusable, but he has gone a long way towards improving himself. Can he bring back the dead guy? Because if you can't, I don't really see a bar you could reach that would be everyone would be like, oh yeah, that's all right. Let's put him back out in the public. So unless you can somehow unless you can call your buddy Satan again and get him to reanimate him, I don't really see what more we can do for you. They said, is Mr. Cruz so irredeemably corrupt that he can never be really rehabilitated? Yes. I don't believe that. I've seen it with my own eyes. No, you haven't. But Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker disagreed, calling Cruz a sociopath, as he asked the judge to uphold the life sentence without the possibility of parole. I personally don't believe anyone, unless you have some sort of clear-cut schizophrenia or something, like some sort of illness that they can diagnose, treat, document your improvements, and show how you're no longer like that little girl who killed her family, like that type of thing. Then you're just a crazy person who killed someone when you were a teenager. Like, you're not mentally ill. Otherwise, you would have brought that defense. Like, it doesn't make any sense. They said there is something substantially and seriously wrong with an individual who would cut off the head of another person, cut out his heart, and cut out his spine. He hasn't been as depraved as he was earlier, but you're setting the bar low. He had nowhere else to go but up. Yay, someone who's not a dumbass. Thank you. Becker also pointed to doctor's reports. He said were proof that Cruz had issues long before he was molested, showing that he tortured animals, started fires as a child, all telltale marks of what could have been a serial killer, for real. They are some of the most basic little building blocks of people who go on to kill people. So, hurting animals, a fascination with fire. They are often, present early in the, building years for these type of people. He made conscious decision at the spur of the moment to kill another human being. And no pictures with dogs or sending stuff to needy kids who are needing food is going to cure what are some deep-seated issues that predated the 10-year-old molestation allegation. What this man did to another human being is not a transient immaturity. Yeah, so they're saying it's not something that just happened when he was a teenager and he's grown out of it. What he is a lifelong thing. It's not like, it's not a phase he was going through when he was a teenager. He made a conscious decision to go out and suffocate another human being by standing on him, crushing his windpipe and his throat, and cutting off his head. He admitted this was a cold-blooded murder. The defendant, out of all juveniles and out of any juvenile, deserves a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. I 100% agree with them. I don't think he can be rehabilitated. A little bit like Dharma. A little bit, yeah. It's not in California. Sorry, it's Michigan. Sorry, I can't see you guys when I'm on the page. The page that you guys see and then you see it move. For me, I'm on a completely different panel and I can't see the chat. So until I'm finished reading, I can't answer any questions. Sorry about that. No more BS, so some people just can't be helped. They can try and pull the wool over the eyes of like the court, the judge, their parole people, the people at the jail or whatever. But it doesn't change the facts of the case. And that's all we can go on. That's it doesn't make any sense to give this guy freedom. We're supposed to remove these type of people from our society because we can't trust them. That's the whole point. We cannot trust him with being out in society. And what happens when he does get parole and then he cuts off the head of another person because he's been dreaming about it for 27 years while locked up, and now he's like, oh my god, my shopping center of earth is open again. I can't wait to find a victim. It has happened so many times where we've had someone released from jail and within a week they've killed someone else. What are you going to say to that family when he kills again? Oh, sorry. Oh, we got it wrong. It's not going to give them any comfort. But the thing you can do is you can keep him behind bars so you don't have to tell that family you're sorry because you screwed up. For real, we've had heaps of them, tons of them. I think I've done like 9 million on this channel. And like, I'm sure those families would tell you the same thing. Just do what you said originally and keep them behind bars. That's what you promised the original victim's family, right? You promised them justice. Keep them behind bars. Don't let another family have to go through what the original family went through. You can say, well, it's only a 5% risk. That is too large of a risk. Too much. Yeah, oops, we thought he was rehabilitated. That's how our society works. There are rules to this. There are rules to our world. There are rules to our countries and societies and things like that. And if you break them, there are consequences to that. And the fact that these judges are becoming so soft is making it more dangerous for all of us. It really is. In Australia, we don't have capital punishment, but we do have life without parole. And for some people, that is where they deserve to be. They deserve to be there because they've shown they can't follow those rules that we all live by. It's be kind to people, don't hurt people, and try and live the best life you can. They're really it. Pay your taxes, pay your rates mortgage and stuff. Like that's it. Like it's not hard. They're not hard rules. Just don't hurt people. It's not a hard thing to do. Sean says Nicholas O'Shea, the primary school teacher, sex offender, not jailed. Nicholas O'Shea. Nicholas O'Shea? I don't know if I know who that is. I'll have to look it up. All right. Before Ping gets really mad and breaks like a microphone, I'll have to change the topic. Hey, Jeanette, how are you, sweetheart? Nicholas O'Shea. Let me look it up. Beaconsfield. I don't know if I followed this case. I'd have to look it up. Yeah, I'll play you the news article for it, but I don't know a lot about it.
After pleading guilty to grooming and sexually assaulting 9 boys over the course of a decade, today former Beaconsfield Primary School teacher Nicholas O'Shea walked free.
Do you think you deserve to be released without jail, Mr. O'Shea? Would you like to say sorry to them for what you've done?
It's been a pretty traumatic, 8-10 years.
Those he hurt let down by a sentence they say is far too lenient.
Potentially like to see some jail time, that's for sure.
To do what he did is just, I've got no words for it.
He should have gone to jail.
There's no consequences. What message is he sending out to other people?
The 30-year-old pleaded guilty to 13 charges, admitting he preyed on boys he met through school and local baseball clubs between 2012 and 2023. The court heard the former teacher sexually attacked 2 boys while they slept and sent hundreds of explicit messages to other children on Snapchat. On sentencing, the judge said O'Shea's offending involved a significant breach of trust and moral culpability must be seen as high.
O'Shea has avoided 12 months in jail through paying $2,000 and agreeing to undergo a sexual offenders rehabilitation program, although a breach of his conditions will see him locked up. He will also serve 300 hours of unpaid work as part of a community corrections order.
Ridiculous. How is that okay? If I was that guy Reese, I think his name was, I would be livid. By the way, that Reese guy, what a jack dude. You could absolutely pummel that guy. Maybe some street justice. Ridiculous. So he can pay money, $2,000. So it's okay if you go through life, use your access to children through a sporting club and a school to abuse them, follow them outside of that activity through Snapchat and social media, groom them, attack them, and then just go, oh, you know what? I can just use me money to get out of any kind of real consequences. That is not justice. Those people have every right to be absolutely furious at the justice system. Furious. That is ridiculous. And for the victims, they get no recourse. For the victims, they have to just go, well, we tried. Like, they had to put all their darkest memories on display for the judge and the courtroom and police officers. And this is what they get back. It would really feel like a smack in the mouth. It really would. It would just feel like, why did we bother? Why did we bother? We should just accept it. Oh, some guys abuse boys, some guys abuse girls, and some women abuse children in as well. Oh, we should just accept it. It only costs you $2,000. You can abuse 9 of them or 6 of them or whatever. As long as you got $2,000, you'll be fine. That's not okay. That is a miscarriage of justice. That is not okay. We had a royal commission here only like 18 months ago about historical kind of CA, CSAM, that type of thing. And did we learn nothing from all those brave people that came forward and detailed what happened to them? Did we learn nothing? Seems like we haven't. Sean said 2 weeks' wages to escape jail. Yeah, that is a soft sentence. I've never heard of something so soft except for that guy's cock. But I've never seen anything. It's ridiculous. What a joke.
O'Shea will be registered as a sex offender for life. The boys he abused now focused on healing.
Yeah, they're doing really well, and they've got good people around them.
Christy Mayer, 7 News.
Oh, but we made him register on a registry thing where, he has to make his name known as a sex offender for the rest of his life. Do you know, there have been people that have been put on registers that have reoffended. It's not some magical cure-all for people who attack children. All it means is that the public gets some more information about where these people might be, what their offending might be, and they can't work with children. That's it. Being that some of his offending took place outside of his place of work, he'll just pivot his offending to finding children online. That's it. That's it. What an absolute disgusting man. I can't say too much more because I think it happened in Victoria. It did. I have to be very careful with what I say because I live here. I would say if he lives in your community, you know what to do. That's it. You know what to do. Shun him. Shun him hard. That's not what I meant, but I have to be very careful with what I say. Because so there's a rule down here that if we incite any kind of vigilantism, the cops will literally kick in my door. So like I can't be like go bash his head in or anything. Like you can't do that. So yeah, there's been people literally arrested for that type of thing. You can't say stuff like that down here. Gayla says look after him. That's right. Look after him. Be very caring. Make sure he understands his offending. Gayla says, I don't get it. How did he get away with it? I don't know. Nikki says he'll have more rights than normal people. One of the things I learnt about was some of these people who are on these sex offenders. I can't say the full word, but like SO register. Some of these people get government funding into the millions of dollars because their cases are so complex and their needs is a weird word, but their cases are so complex that they end up be giving like millions of public money because no one else wants to manage them. So they pay a lot of money in government funding to make sure that these guys are in like, secure housing, and it costs the government a lot of money to have them out in the society. Patty L says, what a horrific message to the boys and their family that it's okay. Exactly. It basically told those kids, why bother? Why did you bother to do this? Why did you go through all the heartache? Why did you go through bearing some of the most private and soul-destroying memories that have ever happened to you in public? Like, they would have to have detailed what, the bad things this guy did. They would have had to give a full breakdown of exactly what happened to them. I can't. I'll tell you what that might be even like 1% like. Go get a loudspeaker, like a bullhorn, head out into like your local shopping center and tell them about the first time that you had sex with someone. That might be like 1% as embarrassing as what they had to go through and how damaging it was for them. That might be like 0.5%. These guys, that was such a tough thing for them to do. And being, like, I'm not saying it's harder for girls or anything, but for some men, this is like the barrier that you just don't walk past. And for them to come forward and tell police, tell the judges, what message are we sending to men about this type of thing? We should be encouraging them to come forward if they've been a victim of this type of crime. And when you hear stories like this, you're not doing that. You're actually telling them that not to bother. You're saying don't do that because the courts don't listen. Like if this was a female girl, they would have smashed him with like a 20-year sentence. I guarantee it. If this was a female, if this was like 9 girls, he would have been put in jail for the next 45 years. But because it was boys, they didn't. And you're telling every other guy out there, you're telling the young boys growing up now, when they see this media, to not even care. Don't worry about it. Don't do it. Don't report this stuff because no one cares. No one's going to give you any justice, and it's not worth your time. It's not worth the embarrassment. Don't worry about it. That's the message the court is sending. I don't know, but I can try and look it out. Sean said, at least his name is out there now. It should be on every billboard in Melbourne, like rotating through the day with like 20 other people. Like if you see this guy, he might like fiddle with your children. Like it should be on a billboard rotating. Why not? He's on the register. How is that not fair? He didn't go to jail. So you got to warn the public. It's ridiculous. Retired RN says, my heart breaks for those boys. Me too. Because I feel like they are, the offending was bad, right? And it's damaging. but I feel like this court case may be just as it sets them back. It'll set them back. The healing from having to go through this process may never be fixed. Their lives may never be the same. I hope it is. I hope they go on to have successful lives, and I hope they find a way forward. But it's hard. It's hard for them. Thank you. I appreciate it, Nikki. Gayla says the young man that spoke to the camera is very brave. I hope he knows how courageous he was. Yeah, I think his name was Reese. What a champion of a young fella. Where is he? Let's say hi to Reese. There he is. I'm not going to give you his last name. I don't think that's appropriate, even though it is on the media. But this guy here, what a brave guy. Brave guy. I hope he knows even though what I just said, I hope he knows that by sharing his face, by speaking to the media, he does give some hope to other victims. It's just like the court let them down severely. Rachel said agreed, and the courts just told the country that it's okay. They told offenders, you got money, you can get out. You got some sort of wealth, not even wealth, like a week's wage. In Australia, the median wage is like $1,500 a week. So it's like a week and a half's worth of money. Wacky woke jurors. I think unfortunately sometimes male victims of SA are not taken as seriously as if it was a woman. Not a woman, like a little girl. And I think it dates back to sort of like predisposed like ideas of like purity and sex and things like that. And unfortunately, the value of a girl seems to be much higher than of a boy in this particular situation. Not in a lot of other situations, it's the reverse. Men are given a lot more things in life and stuff like privilege. But in this particular situation, if it was a female, I believe they would have nailed that guy for like 35 years in jail. Yes, yeah, it's not cool. 2000 is absolutely nothing. It was over 10 years of life being, yeah. So if you split that over the 10 years, right? So he must be laughing. He's like, oh, it cost me $200 a year to do this. You pay more to be a part of a sporting club or a gym. So it's less of a cost than joining a gym than it is to have 10 years of offending against young boys. That's ridiculous. The courts are too soft on this type of thing. Way too soft. Got to send a message to these people that if you do this, we are going to lock you up. We're going to take you from society and you never get out. If you offend against our children in our society, we're just going to lock you away. You've got to make it a deterrent. How is this any deterrent to them? It's not. There's no deterrent. It's basically just saying as long as you got money, you'll be fine. This kind of stuff makes Ping so mad. Good work, Sean. Good work. I was already mad about the other one. Now you got Ping really mad. Although people seem to like the mad shows, because I get a lot of emails from people saying, Ping, can we get you mad again so you can do a show where you yell about stuff? I was like, I don't want to yell about things. All right. Let's see what else we got on my list. Yeah, he is a legend. Hope he finds a way forward, even though he didn't get what he deserved in court. Hope he goes on to have a great life. I really do. That is, there are things out there for him. There's a better life out there for him. I'm sure of it. Ping is sure of it. And I hope he spends his life campaigning to change so it doesn't happen to someone else again. I'm sure he will. Oh, this is an interesting one. Should we go back to Michigan? What the hell? What's going on in Michigan? Let's go back to Michigan. Apparently we love Michigan today. All right. If I pronounce any town name wrong, let me know. But is it Troy? I hope it is. because like there's a lot of trick letters in American town names apparently. Authorities are trying to determine what caused a hyperbaric oxygen chamber at a Troy medical facility to explode on Friday morning, killing a 5-year-old boy who was inside. What? They're saying first responders were called about 7:54 a.m. to a medical center near I-75 about a report of an explosion and fire. They said at a news conference. All right, let's try if we can see if we can find a news conference for it. How? Why? What? I just don't get it. Hold on, I'm going to try find the news conference.
Another top story tonight, breaking here at 5. A 5-year-old boy is dead after an explosion at a healthcare facility in Troy.
So this happened this morning at the Oxford Center near Livernois and I-75. Damon Fernandez joins us live. Damon, that child was receiving hyperbaric oxygen therapy when this all happened.
Yeah, that's right, Kim. You know, we've learned that little boy was from Royal Oak. Investigators say he was inside that chamber when it exploded. His mom was standing near it. Now she's injured and her little boy is gone.
Unfortunately, we have to report on a very sad incident that occurred this morning.
It was right here at the Oxford Center on Kurtz Boulevard in Troy where first responders made a grave discovery on Friday. A child undergoing treatments dead from an explosion.
The first arriving units unfortunately discovered a 5-year-old boy deceased on the scene.
Investigators say the explosion happened inside a room where the boy was undergoing treatments inside a hyperbaric chamber. Though it's not clear what specific treatment the child was receiving, the Oxford Center's website says hyperbaric chamber therapy can be used for a variety of conditions, including treating children with autism. Firefighters say they found the boy within minutes of putting out a fire in the room where the chamber was kept.
It's a compressed cylinder, and with the 100% oxygen, it runs the risk of having an explosion, yes.
As investigators process the scene, they say they're trying to determine exactly what caused the explosion.
The mother of the child also suffered some injuries to her arms as she was standing right next to the chamber when the explosion occurred.
The city did post a do not occupy notice on the front doors of the Oxford Center, and a spokesperson did release a statement to us this afternoon. That statement saying in part, the safety and well-being of the children we serve is our highest priority. Nothing like this has happened in our more than 15 years of providing this type of therapy. We do not know why or how this happened and will participate in all the investigations that now need to take place. You can imagine right now there's a lot of talk about hyperbaric chambers, how they're used, how they're regulated, and for what conditions. You know, our investigative team has been doing some digging. So let's bring in Karen Drew to break down exactly what.
So the only use case that I've ever heard of for a hyperbaric chamber is for scuba divers. So when scuba divers rise to the surface too quickly, they get the bends, which is a buildup of gases in your body. And I know one of the ways to treat it is to go into a hyperbaric chamber. But other than that, I've not really known any other conditions that they treat with it. So this next bit will be very interesting because I've never heard of them treating it for like autism or anything. But that poor kid, imagine, and the mom, they said she had injuries to her arm. Does that mean amputation to the arm? Because if you imagine if you're holding a cylinder full of like oxygen, it's basically a pipe bomb. That's what it is. It's a compressed cylinder under pressure, which if it exploded would literally be a bomb. That's what it is. Awful. I hope they figure out how this happened and why it happened. But let's listen to the next bit about how they use it.
What you found.
And Damon, we have found out a lot we want to share with everyone. Let's start with this. We found out the state law does not require hyperbaric oxygen facilities to be licensed or regulated by the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, or also called LARA. But the FDA does recommend if you are to use one of those chambers, it should be accredited. And that accreditation is done through an organization. It's called the Undersea and Hyperbaric Medical Society. It uses a really rigorous evaluation process to determine that the facility and its equipment, the staff, everything's safe. It meets the highest standards of care and patient safety. So we did some checking. In Michigan, there are only 2 accredited hyperbaric chambers. You can take a look. We put them on the map right there. We were talking talking about Dive Medicine over in Grand Rapids, and then also the Lakeland Center for Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine that is in Niles, Michigan. So that leaves you wondering what conditions the FDA has actually cleared for use of a hyperbaric chamber. I want you to take a look. This is according to the FDA. There are only 13 conditions that are listed that you should be using a chamber. Things like anemia, burns, a crush injury, hearing loss, radiation injury, vision loss. Those are all approved. Now, take a look at this and keep looking. This is the list of conditions treated at the unaccredited hyperbaric chamber at the Oxford Center there in Troy. The place boasts it treats 112 conditions. Look at this list that it names. It names things like autism, dementia, heart attacks. Now, if you can see by the colors, the things that are light up, those are the ones that the FDA says it actually can work for. Only 8 of the 112 conditions listed are approved.
Very interesting that this one place didn't seem to be accredited at all at the highest standard. And now you have something like this where a hyperbaric chamber exploded, killing a young child and injuring his mother. You have to look at here, like ADHD. They even have like Alzheimer's, like anal fissures. There you go. Go to the hyperbaric chamber to get your anal fissures dealt with. Not regulated. Yeah, that should be a minimum requirement if you're running these machines, that they have to meet that federal standard. Why are they allowed to operate if they're not cleared by the FDA or that? Or what did she say? Let me say it properly. There was this thing. The UHMS accreditation for hyperbaric medicine. That. It's some sort of ISO. So it looks like ISO 9001. There's a lot of things that are ISO 9001, even in IT. But it seems to be this accreditation, the UHMS accreditation for hyperbaric medicine. They all should have this accreditation. And if you don't have this accreditation, you shouldn't be allowed to operate. That's what your patients would expect. I agree. So many other gentle therapies to support autism. Yeah, I think wouldn't putting someone who is autistic or somewhere on the spectrum, wouldn't putting them in a enclosed area be really bad for them? I thought that was one of like their like trigger type things, that they don't like being confined or they don't like their movement being restricted. So I would be thinking that would be a hard one for people with autism. Aaron Rodgers had one delivered to his home. Yeah, but he's a quack. Like Aaron Rodgers is just probably a decent guy or whatever, but he's just like, if this was the 1900s, he'd be walking around town selling medical quackery devices to people, like, you know, those electrical ones, and they're like, it grows your hair back, like that type of thing. That's what he'd be doing. He wouldn't be an NFL quarterback. He'd be walking around town selling medical quackery items. Yeah, I would have thought that would be bad for them. Patty L said, desperate people try all sorts of treatment that aren't proven to help at all. They've been doing it in America since the 1800s, 1700s. Yeah, poor little boy. Here, I'll show you. So they used to have these items. I don't know if you've ever seen them before. Here, early. Let's see if I can find it. Like, they used to have all the tonics and that, but they had machines too. I don't know if I can find it, but they used to have like these portable ones that had like all these glass lasers and things that you'd like run on your head and stuff. Like, they were really weird. I don't know if I can find one for you. Here's sort of an old one. I don't know what this one does, but yeah, this one, you obviously hold the paddles or touch someone with the like maybe someone holds them and then the person you're delivering it to holds the other end with the copper, and it runs a charge through them or something. There's heaps of them. There was like hundreds of companies that made them back in the late 1800s, early 1900s in America. So America has a long history with medical quackery. So yeah, magic elixirs, like yeah, and stuff like this. These type of mechanical devices. There's a lot of them. They were sold by like JDR Brothers and Son Medical Corporation of America. Like, here's another one. Who knows what the hell this does? What do you do? Put your foot in it or something? It looks like sandpaper. What the hell do you do with this? Patient magneto electric machine for nervous diseases. Yeah, it would make me nervous if you're going to freaking cut my foot off or something with that sandpaper. Like, I don't know what you do with this. What do you do with these electrodes? You stick them up your butt or something. They're like, stick them in your rectum and then put the other one in your mouth, and it gives your nervous system a bit of a jolt. You know, you got to make the connection, so you got to put them in the orifices. Like, I don't know what that thing does, but it looks like a Scientology tester. I don't know what it does either. Yeah. Retired Owen says snake oil salesmen went around the country selling elixirs. They did, yeah, they really did, and stuff like this. I think we have a few photos of like the elixirs. Yeah, here's some of them here. They could grow your hair back. They could like make your sex life great. They could they'd probably make your sex life bad if you drank it. You'd probably be like, why doesn't it work anymore? And they'd be like, oh, it's a side effect. You know, for most people it works, but for you, you know, make you very unhappy in pants. But vegetable compound, that's definitely what I want in my life. Vegetable compound. I go to the store and I'm like, do you know where you sell the vegetable compound? And then this is another one. I don't know what that one does. Lydia E. Pinkham's herb medicine. I definitely need some of that in my life. I don't know what it does, but it does something. Old Westerns, yeah. Electroshock therapy. Okay. Yes. Dr. Michelle says, I use electrical stimulation, great for pain conditions. That looks like an antique. Wow. It's from like the 1800s. So I'm guessing, yes, it is an antique. If you call that an antique. Like on Peak's Dragon, they make your hearing come back. If you got tinnitus, drink the vegetable compound. It'll cure your tinnitus. Yeah, there's a lot of weird things in medical quackery. Ask Aaron Rodgers; he'll tell you all about it. All right, I think we're almost done for the night. We're almost been on about 2 hours, and it's about 1 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning, almost 2 a.m. Almost 2 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah, I see a headline here that says, ketamine warning after potentially deadly drug leaves youngsters with irreversible issues. Watch out. Regulate your ketamine use. Don't be having too much. You might have irreversible issues. Only have it once a week. Make sure you eat beforehand. You know, it's for with food. It's not a without food medication. Make sure you have your ketamine with breakfast. 1:49 a.m. Oh, a TENS machine. I've been looking for a TENS machine because like I work out. I do exercise every day, and well, there's some parts that I'd like to speed up the process. I learned, so I did a bit of research on TENS machines. They work, but you can't sit on the couch and be like, I'm going to have a six pack after this. No. It's more for like you work out already, and it is sort of like an accompaniment to your workout. It's supposed to be like when you're sort of tired and your muscles are a bit tired and you can't keep going, you sort of use it to extend your workout. It's not really like you're not like Homer Simpson and you sit on the couch and you put on the tens machine and you get a six pack. It's not going to work like that. It's not how it works. Ketamine, yeah, ketamine. Yeah, electrical stimulation. Yeah, so I've been looking for one. I want one that can do chest, abdominal, oblique, and I don't know. That's it right now. They're the ones I'm looking for because they're the areas I'm concentrating on in my weightlifting and exercise. Jojo says MERT is a non-invasive neurotherapy that utilizes magnetic fields to stimulate specific areas of the brain. Ooh, okay. I wonder what vegetable compound contains. Vegetables, obviously. Tens machine feels good on my lower back. I wish I still had mine. Yeah, I've been looking for one. Acupuncture. No. Ping has a needle phobia, and I ain't going anywhere near acupuncture. You ain't putting any freaking needles. No, like, no. Just no. None for me. I'll tell you a story. Do you want to know a really embarrassing story about Ping? I'll tell you an embarrassing story. I don't mind making fun of myself on my own show. So I was like 18, and I'd been really sick for a couple of weeks, right? I went to a place to get a blood test. So my doctor's like, oh, I can't really see anything wrong with you. There's nothing, you're pretty healthy for a 17-year-old guy. Everything seems pretty good. He's like, well, we'll get a blood test, see if you're low in anything. Maybe you need a multivitamin or you need a shot of something. So he sends me to this pathology place. And I sit down in the chair. And the lady like wipes my arm and stuff like that. And she's like, this'll hurt a little bit. And I passed out before she even put the needle in my arm. She hadn't even put the needle in my arm. I woke up. I said, have you finished yet? She's like, we didn't even get started. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a breather outside. I just never went back. I just left. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll be fine. It's 35 years later or whatever. I'm fine. Yeah, I faint. I'm no good. I'm okay now. I had my shots, for like all like illnesses and things. Like I'm okay now. I've found a way of dealing with it, and the way of dealing with it is I just hand them my arm and I just look the other direction. I just look the other direction. They do it, and I'm like, it's done. But if I watch it happen, I'm no good. I just pass out. I'm just not good with needles. Sean said it does feel like acupuncture on a couple of settings. Interesting. I'll have to try it. As long as it isn't needles, I'll be all right. Jeanette says my daughter has a needle phobia, but it's not as bad as since she had some hypnotherapy. It really helps. That's very interesting. Thank you, Jeanette. I will look into that. Like I said, I've sort of somewhat grown out of it. I still somewhat have it. It's probably because when I was a kid, I had a lot of surgeries and things like that. So it's probably just damaged my trust of doctors or something. But it's not as bad. As long as I look the other direction and they just shove it in my arm or whatever, it's fine. Oh, yeah, good work, cats. Oi, you fucking idiots. Hold on. My cats. Oh my god. Stop playing around Dad's computer. So I've got the two cats decided that Dad's been on the computer for too long, and they decided to come here and jump all over the computer and all the cords, and they ripped out the webcam, the camera, and I was just like, "What are you doing?" Sorry about the swearing. These two. They're very naughty. These two. Muffin. Hey Rory, stop that. Muff, come here. Do you want to say hello to everyone? Here, do you want to come up? Here. Jump up. No? Muff. Come here. Yeah. What's wrong? You want to jump up? Okay. He doesn't want to jump up today. He's gone off the jumping up on my lap. Muff, come here. No, he's ignoring me. Yeah. Sean said COVID got me used to needles. Yeah. Who's the swear word tonight? I think we decided it was going to be Nick. I think Nick's the swear word tonight. Nick is our swear word. I should have said Nick when I yelled at them, but it was probably more a like an involuntary reaction because all of a sudden my screen just went black and like I had all these error messages and I was like, what the hell's going on? Why did I lose my webcam? Where's the video gone? I don't know where it went. He's over his fame. Yeah. He's a quiet boy most of the time, but he likes to stir his sister up. So Muff will literally antagonize Rory constantly, like for hours. He just like picks at her like over and over and over until Rory snaps and then beats him up. Like Rory's really powerful. She's a female cat, but she is super powerful compared to Muffin. Like she can throw Muffin down the room. I've seen her do it. She will run and just whack him with her paws and he'll just go rolling down the hallway. She's really, I don't know why, but she's really, really powerful. Muff is like putty to her, but he really likes antagonizing her over and over again. And that's what he was doing just before. So Tiana says, when I was pregnant, that got me over needles. Just don't look. Yeah, I just stick my arm out here. Just do it. Just hurry up. Don't tell me you're doing it. Just stick it in my freaking arm. The ones that hurt are the cannula. The cannulas, man. Oh, they're just so freaking painful. All right, let's get out of here. Give me 1 second though. Give me 1 second. Hey, all right. Hey, I just wanted to check the donation thing because I didn't want to. We didn't check it for a couple of nights because I got out of here really quick and had to get to the hospital. So I wanted to make sure I caught anyone that I hadn't been able to say thank you to. I wanted to say thank you to Deborah. That's very, very kind of you. And Sean from yesterday, I must have missed it, logging out early. I appreciate it from both of you. It's very, very kind. I do have one announcement. Don't come for me. It's just a fact, okay? I will do it next month. The channel itself just didn't make enough this month for me to be able to do a giveaway for a hoodie. It just didn't. It didn't make enough for me to be able to cover the initial cost of it. So I will roll people's names into February, and if hopefully we'll make enough, and I'll draw it at the end of Feb. So it's just a fact of fact of life. It's just a fact of life. So I didn't want people to feel disappointed, but it's just I can do it when I can afford it, and when I can't do it. It's just one of those things because they're not cheap, and it's just one of those things. Nick says it's wrong. It doesn't belong in a bag. I don't know what she's talking about. It could be a cat. It could be a dog. It could be a basketball. I'm not sure. Hey Glitter, good to see you. I hope you're feeling better. Any luck on the real estate thing? Let me know. Rachel said you should only do the hoodie when you're able to. Understand? Yeah, it's just I think January is just a funny month. Like a lot of people got they just got over Christmas and like everyone carries a lot of debt after Christmas and stuff like that. So I totally get it. Like I understand. Blood penguin donating blood. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I was like, what? What are you telling me to do? You want me to give blood to someone? Okay, hold on. Let me read it again. Oh, blood doesn't belong in a bag. Well, apparently, according to the medics, it does. Logistics, yeah. The fish sticks. That's right. Gayla says, thank you, Ping. Yeah, I will. I think we're going to try get Mrs. Ping some food. She had some salmon last night, which was probably the first thing she's eaten in a few days. And I think she wants to eat. What do you want to eat? What are you going to have tonight? Soup. Soup. She's so sick of soup. She's had every soup under the sun in like 3 months. We'll see if we can get you some more salmon. Deborah says we're not coming for hoodies, coming for entertainment. Well, I hope you're entertained. Are you entertained? I hope you were. Nick says, have a good one, everyone. Yeah, have a good one. Again, my sympathy to the people in that jet. I hope we find out a little bit more by tomorrow. And if I have some time tonight, if they do a press conference like first thing in the morning, I may jump back on. So keep an eye out. I may come on like 7 a.m. Eastern time. So we'll see, okay? Oh, I should be starting the real estate class very soon. Awesome. Sounds good. Hey, Jeanette, good to see you. Love you very much. Jojo, good to see you too, my friend. Yeah, thank you very much. Good to see you, Michelle. I saw your comment from the other day. You wrote a comment saying that you were watching on replay. I appreciate it. I see it. And my friend Moon Shadow left a comment. Oh, before we go, one last thing. Hey, good to see Melissa too. I saw you in the comments. Where's that guy? There was a new commenter we had the other day, a really nice person. I'm just trying to find him. A new person called Melissa, a different Melissa, left a comment. Where is this other person? We had this really nice new person comment. Oh, his name is Matt. Matt McRae. Matt McRae, if you're out there and listening, thank you for your comments. I really appreciate it. I've read them. I haven't replied yet, but I have read your both your comments that you left the other day. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. Peace out. Good night. Have a great Saturday out there. Thank God it's the weekend. Bye. See you later.